It's week 14 at M&T Bank Stadium, and today we get another chapter of one of football's fiercest rivalries. It's the Ravens and the Steelers. Both teams enter at 6-6, tied for first in the AFC North and fighting to bounce back after tough week 13 losses. With postseason stakes rising, this one could swing the entire division. And history tells us to buckle up. 28 of the last 38 meetings between these rivals have been decided by just one score, but this is what December football is all about. Welcome into Pregame Live, presented by Caesars Sportsbook. I'm Shelby Lasso, and today I am honored to be alongside one of the NFL's greatest cornerbacks of all times, the legendary Hall of Famer and Super Bowl champion Rod Woodson. And Rod, you know this rivalry from both sides. You spent 10 seasons in Pittsburgh. You won a Super Bowl in Baltimore. What comes to mind when you think about Ravens Steelers?
Hard-hitting old-school football. I mean, you look at the game, and it's like the way they play. It's a run-first offense to a hard-hitting defenses, both sides of the ball, getting after quarterbacks. It's that old-fashioned football like we used to play when I was a little kid in the streets in Indiana. That's what you feel every time that these two teams get together. It's going to be when you get done on Monday, you're getting in the cold tub. You need an ice bath because your body's going to feel a little sore.
Yep. Well, both these teams are coming off disappointing losses. Last week, the Ravens fell to Joe Burrow and the Bengals in a game where 5 turnovers were really the difference. And then the Bengals gave up the most rushing yards they have in decades. They fell to the Buffalo Bills. So both of these teams are still on top of the AFC North, but one will be in the driver's seat after today. What's at stake in this one with just 5 games left?
The winner controls the division. They know that. And it's normally the case when they even play earlier in the year. They know whoever can win between the Steelers and the Ravens consistently, that's the team who's going to win the division. And this year, neither team is playing at their peak, but you still have an opportunity. And I think if you look at the Ravens, they have a great opportunity to be at home, to come out there, play solid football. Don't lose the turnover battle, for crying out loud. If you don't lose the turnover battle, you win the football game.
Well, the Ravens did win the last 2 meetings with the Steelers by a combined 31 points, but 28 of the last 38 have been decided by just one score. Today's matchup is also the 39th meeting between the two longest tenured head coaches in the NFL, John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin. No two head coaches have faced each other more in the Super Bowl era. So what are you expecting to see on the field today?
Oh, man, I'm thinking for the Ravens side is that they're going to run the football. That's what I'm thinking. That's going to be the game plan. Run the football, play action pass off of that, let Lamar get out of the pocket, do his thing with his feet. I would think the Steelers are going to be doing something similar to that. Aaron Rodgers can still get rid of the football. He still can throw the football down the field. He gets rid of the football at the fastest rate of any other quarterback in the National Football League at 2.6 seconds per throw. So it's going to be hard to pressure him consistently, but you do have to get him out of the pocket. So I think they're both going to be the run-first teams that we think they are. It's going to come down to who can get the turnovers. Whoever can get the turnovers and win the turnover battle is going to win the game.
Well, good news for the Ravens is they enter this rivalry game pretty healthy. No big surprises here. I do want to mention Tavius Robinson and Ardarius Washington return to practice this week, but they aren't quite ready yet. So with that, we'll send it down to the third member of our broadcast, Garrett Downing. And Garrett, Lamar Jackson is good to go. Nate Wiggins is back after missing the second half against the Bengals. What does a healthy roster mean for this Ravens team in this rivalry game?
Well, look, you know how physical this game is, so you want to come into it at full strength, and the Ravens are really doing that. They've dealt with some injuries, as we all know, over the course of this season, and most notably to quarterback Lamar Jackson. He did miss practice on Thursday, dealing with an ankle injury, but he returned on Friday and was a full participant in that practice, and then said on Friday he was good to go. Was limited on Wednesday, said he got stepped on in practice on Wednesday, but again, there was no injury designation that he had coming heading into this game, so I don't expect that ankle issue to be something that bothers him over the course of this matchup here. Shelby, you mentioned Nate Wiggins. I think that is really significant for this team. He's such an important player as the top cornerback on this roster. When he left last week's game in the second half, it kind of changed things for this defense. So having him available, not missing any game action other than the second half of last week's game is really significant for this group. And then you mentioned the two players who are working their way back but not able to play in this game. Tavius Robinson had foot surgery earlier this season. And then our Darius Washington. He tore his Achilles this offseason. I think when that happened in the spring, a lot of people thought, okay, we'll see him in 2026. It's not going to be on the field this year. But the fact that he was able to come back to practice and actually log a full practice session on Friday is an indication of just how far he's come. He's really close to being back in the lineup. It's not going to happen here today, but don't be surprised if his return to this defense is right around the corner. So it's great to see our Darius working his way back from that injury and trying to get back here on the field for this Ravens defense.
Garrett, thanks so much. And Rod, want to talk a little bit about the quarterback, Lamar Jackson. In the last 3 games, not his strongest. He's been sacked 9 times, no passing touchdowns in the last 3 games, 5 turnovers for number 8. What's going on with the 2-time MVP?
I mean, it's, he's definitely have some types of injury. I don't know if it's going to be his ankle. I don't know if it's a hamstring. I'm not really sure with that being said. But I think the bigger issue is mentally. Most players, when you have an issue mentally, you're not playing at your best. And I think, especially at the quarterback position, when he has so many weapons, and trying to get the ball out to Zay Flowers, to Mark Andrews, to Bateman, and I when you think in how he's played the last couple weeks, it's like he's held onto the ball a little bit too long, and he's wanting to take some shots down the field where guys are open on the intermediate throws. And if you think about the way he's played in his past, he's taken what the defense is giving him. He'll take a 5-yarder, a 7-yarder, a 5-yarder, a 6-yarder, a 7-yarder, then a 15, then a 20. Then he'll get out of the pocket. He needs to get back to that. And if he can get back to that, that's going to be the best version of Lamar that we need.
Well, how does he get out of that mindset and that mental game?
And I think the biggest thing is whatever the defense gives him, take it.
Yeah.
Don't wait and hold it and want something a little bit deeper. If they give you a 3-yarder, take the 3-yarder. Let your playmakers make plays in space consistently. And if you can do that, they'll have the best version of their offense they can have.
Well, today's winner will control its playoff destiny, and the loser will be in some deep water. We'll get down to the field more with pregame warm-ups, but we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Honey, can I use my quarter when you're done?
You are not getting the quarterback.
Keep the game going with Ravens Scratch-Offs from the Maryland Lottery. Play today and you could win up to $200 grand instantly or other great Ravens prizes.
He has an open lane and makes his move. He might, he could, he did reach for his M&T Bank Ravens debit card. Oh, what a play! And a completion. Touchdown!
Does it say Flowers on your card? Good eye.
Get your M&T Ravens debit card and make every tap feel like a touchdown. Score yours at mtb.com/Ravens.
Touchdown!
It never gets old.
Introducing Idahoan Plus Protein Mashed Potatoes with 6 grams of added protein in every serving. The same creamy, homemade taste you love, made from 100% real Idaho potatoes. Each pouch makes 4 servings and comes in 3 delicious flavors. Ready in minutes, Idahoan Plus Protein fits your busy lifestyle. Just add hot water, stir, and enjoy. It's an easy way to add a good source of protein to your meal. Idahoan Plus Protein Mashed Potatoes. Real potatoes, real easy.
As a former professional athlete, I understand life can get busy. Making your health a top priority is necessary, and we're here to help. The Baltimore Ravens and GEHA are committed to the overall wellness of the Ravens flock. Through awareness and education, the Purple Ticket to Health program provides convenient access to resources that empower our community to take actions towards a healthier lifestyle. Take the first step by completing a short assessment. and get the chance to win great Ravens prizes. Score your purple ticket today.
Shake, 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 Sinora, shake your body liner. Shake, 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 Sinora, shake it all the time.
The perfect blend of flavor and heat. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
Shake, shake.
Pregame Live is brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of the Baltimore Ravens. Well, it's the Ravens, it's the Steelers, and it's first place in the North on the line. Get your popcorn ready because it's time for another chapter of this storied rivalry. And Rod, it's not just rivalry weekend, it's a celebratory weekend. The Ravens are welcoming back the members of the Super Bowl 35 team, Super Bowl champions. It's been 25 years since that Super Bowl season. Does it feel like it's been 25 years, Rod?
My body feels like it's been 25 years. Yes, it's been 25 years. No, you know what? It was really good to see all the guys. And we had a lot of the defensive players that came back. It was great seeing the guys who we haven't seen in several years. We talk to each other, we text each other, but seeing guys in person, it was really special.
Well, that season, when you look back on it, again, 50 members of that team are back this weekend. There will be a special ceremony at halftime. So fans in the stadium, make sure you're in your seats. You won't want to miss Ray Lewis and Brian Billick addressing the crowd. We know that'll be fun. But when you look back on that season and you think it wasn't the perfect season by any means, the regular season, 12-4. I mean, obviously one of the greatest defenses of all times, but the offense went 5 straight games without scoring a touchdown.
Yeah.
When you think back on that season, what comes to mind?
I think how close we became. And it started a couple years before that. It started in 98, and then we got there in 99, and 2000 it kind of all clicked. But how we became so close, and then how much we did together. But I think for the year itself is like, okay, defensively, I remember me and Ray and Shannon used to get in the cold tub every Friday. And then we were like, okay, Shannon, how many points you got for us? I like, give us 7 to 10. If you can give us 7 to 10, we can win every single game. Because our defense was just so good. I think Marvin Lewis called probably the best season as a defense coordinator in modern times, that he just let us go play football. And we had such a good defense. You couldn't run the ball against us. It was hard to throw the ball against us. I mean, Ray Lewis became that leader that everybody was looking for, and he became that focal point of our team. And anytime we had a downside of a game, he would get everybody riled up on the sideline. So I think overall, when you think about, I played 17 years, but that's probably the best defense for one given year in modern era.
Well, you said opponents couldn't run the ball against you. They also couldn't score a lot of points against that defense. That 2000 defense set the NFL record for fewest points allowed in a 16-game regular season, 165 points. That's it, 49 turnovers. Yeah. What specifically was it about that defense that made it so vicious?
I mean, it started in practice. I mean, we ran to the ball. We did everything that we were going to do in the game in practice daily. And, I mean, you're creatures of habit. Excellence is what you do consistently. It's not so it doesn't happen accidentally. So I think the things that we did consistently in practice, game day, it becomes easy. You just go out and do it, and you have fun.
What you mentioned him, Ray Lewis. Do you have a favorite Ray Lewis memory that maybe fans haven't heard before?
Well, I mean, Ray is a big person on, like, his if you ever, like, called him, his voicemail, and he'd be like, hey, if you walk down the steps and you turn to the left and the wind is blowing in your face, are you walking in the right direction? That was his voicemail, and I'm like, what? I mean, I'm laughing so hard. I said, dude, stop. Change that voicemail. Like, that makes no sense. So, I mean, like, some of the things that he would say consistently would be so funny. And then, obviously I would always sit in the back when he's, like, giving his game day speech. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, Ray. I mean, the first day I did, I was jumping with the guys. Where's my dogs at? And I'm jumping up and down. I got done. I'm like, man, I'm tired. I don't know if I can play the game because I've been jumping up and down for 5 minutes. So, I mean, that's fun. But I think the biggest thing for me, for Ray, is some of the little things that he would say consistently on his phone was probably some of the craziest stuff I've ever heard in my life.
Does this team, this current Ravens team, have what it takes to do what that 2000s team did, made it into the playoffs as a wild card and won a few games and won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, I came into the year saying this is the best team on paper in the National Football League. I mean, from top to bottom, offense, defense, special teams, they have everything that you need to win. And you can still get to that point because they have the players. They just haven't played all together. Everything hasn't clicked inside of the games yet. But it can happen. And if it happens in December and in January, that's when it needs to happen. And you can get to the postseason. Anything can happen once you get into the postseason.
Well, what are the keys to making all three phases of this game click in a big rivalry matchup today?
Yeah, I think they understand the importance. If you don't have a pulse coming into this game as a player,
what are you doing?
I don't know what you're doing. I was like, you have to understand the importance of this game because you got to face them again come January, but you have to play your best football today because the winner today has the upper echelon or the upper hand in the AFC North. So you have to go out there and play your best football, and they have to play collectively. They have to play for 4 quarters. If you think about the Ravens this year, they haven't played a complete game, all 3 phases yet. And they're still playing okay football. They're still that's the silver lining is nobody in the AFC North has played great football. So you can come out there and just play your best in December and the game in January, and you can win your division and get to the postseason, and anything can happen in a 3-game swing.
Well, the promising thing, in my opinion, is even when the offense has been struggling, the defense has stepped up and kept the offense still in the game. And same, when the defense struggled earlier this year, it was the offense keeping them in games. But there he is, Lamar Jackson. I know he's hoping to have a bounce-back game today. But when you look at Pittsburgh, over 30 sacks this season, what does Lamar and the O-line need to do today to make sure that guy stays upright?
The one thing that the Steelers have done well, they've always played him well. They kind of stand like he can't get out of the pocket. They've kind of rushed him in a bowl. We used to call it keep the quarterback in a saucer. But the one thing that I think he can do well is take what they give you. If they give you a 4-yarder, take it. Let your playmakers make plays in space. Give the ball to Keaton Mitchell. Give the ball to Derrick Henry in space. Give it to Mark Andrews. Give it to Flowers. Give it to all those individual players in space. Just give it to, if it's a 5-yarder, a 3-yarder, a 2-yarder, get rid of the football and let your players make space or make plays for you in space. And then when you have to get out of the pocket and use your feet, do that.
Well, Garrett, we saw Lamar Jackson miss 1 day of practice this week. He practiced Wednesday, missed Thursday, but then returned on Friday. How does that 1 day of practice that he missed this week impact his game today?
Look, you don't want to miss practice time. The ideal scenario is you're out there every single day during practice this week. But when we talked to Lamar on Friday, he did not seem too stressed about missing the day of practice. And to be honest, he's kind of used to it. Over the course of the last month, he has not logged in a full practice session. And that even goes back further when you consider the hamstring injury that cost him games earlier this season. So he's been living in this world of having to miss practice time and offset that during the week, whether it's with film study and preparation outside of what happens on the practice field. And an interesting thing, Rod made the point that Lamar has not had big games against the Steelers over the course of his career, which is true. And I asked Lamar this week about what it takes to win these games, what he's learned over the course of his career about what it takes to win a Ravens-Steelers game. And he pointed to the turnover differential. And when you go back through and look at it in his time in a Ravens uniform, when the Ravens have taken care of the football in this game, they've won. Conversely, when they've had the better team and they put up more yards and they've had more success, generally speaking, over the course of the season, but they've turned the ball over in this game, that's cost them. So I think Lamar has learned from those experiences. I think he wants to protect the football, but he also said you can't allow that to overtake your mindset so where you're not playing free. So it's a balance there, but it definitely is on the top of his mind, as well as the rest of the team, that the Ravens need to ensure they're taking care of the football. They cannot have a repeat of what happened on Thanksgiving with 5 turnovers. That's a focus for them in this game here today. If they don't turn the ball over, I absolutely think they're going to win this game here today.
Well, the Ravens hoping for a big game from Lamar Jackson and also a big game from the King. Derrick Henry, your Ravens 2025 Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. That was his 3rd nomination, his 1st with the Ravens. He's also now 11th on the NFL's all-time rushing yards list. Now, Derrick needs just 69 yards to reach 1,000 rushing yards for the 7th time in his career. He had nearly 200 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns in last year's December playoff game against the Steelers. And the Steelers, like we said earlier, gave up nearly 250 rushing yards to the Bills last week, the most they've given up since 1975. So how would you use the King today?
Run the ball.
That's a good
Run the ball.
And do it again.
Then run the ball. And then run the ball again. But not just with Derrick Henry, but with Keaton Mitchell and Ali. But I think if you can get to that point where, if you go back and look at the Buffalo Bills game against the Steelers, Buffalo Bills ran what we call duo. They doubled the nose, get up to the second level, kick out the guard. They ran that 22 times. Same play, same formation. So if I'm Todd Monken, I'm like, okay, I'm going to see if they can stop duo. We're going to run it the first couple of plays and see if they can stop it. And if they can't stop it, you keep running it.
Yeah. Well, there was some criticism last week against the Bengals and how this run game was used, how Derrick Henry and Keaton Mitchell were used. But you have to look at it. A lot of that does depend on game flow and game situations. When you're stuck in second and long or 2-minute mode for a lot of the game, how does that impact the run game?
Yeah, I think I get the fourth quarter because they were behind. They're trying to get back into the game. Second quarter, I don't get. You kind of head scratch that. Like when you have your Derrick Henry has 6 carries in the first quarter, he has 60-something yards and a touchdown. Then he doesn't get it in the second quarter. You're like, well, how did that happen? And I know for Todd, you have so many weapons. And how do you, in 53 snaps or 65 snaps, whatever it might be for the offense, how do you get your playmakers the ball consistently? But it's not too many of them that's going to be in the Hall of Fame, like Derrick Henry. And that's the type of person, he's better when he gets fed over the course of the long haul. And we've seen it throughout his career at every place he's been. It's like when he's getting the ball about 18 to 20 times in a game, he's wearing our defense out. You ever see how big this dude is?
He's
massive. He is a massive human being. And if you're not a lumberjack and chopping him down at the legs, you're not getting him down. He's just too big. So I think you got to feed him, and then you got to offset him with Keaton Mitchell, who hits the hole a little bit faster and quicker on the outside. And I think if they can do that, that's what's going to be consistent for them, and they can run the ball against this team.
Well, the Ravens are coming off a mini bye. They had about 10 days since that Thursday night football game against the Bengals last week. And what a 10-day span for Mark Andrews. Last Thursday, he broke the franchise's all-time receptions record and became just the second tight end in NFL history to hold the receiving triple crown as a franchise's all-time leader in yards, catches, and touchdowns. Friday, the very next day, he announced his engagement. And then Wednesday, he signed a 3-year contract extension with the Ravens, keeping Lamar's go-to guy in Baltimore through 2028. Why was Mark so deserving of that 3-year extension?
I mean, it's what he's done. I mean, what he's done in his career. You know, I think he deserves the opportunity to retire as a Raven. It's so rare in today's game where players get to play their whole career for one team. And I think the respect that they have for Mark and giving him the opportunity. And remember, early last year, we were all like, where's Mark Andrews? He's not getting the catches. He's not getting the touchdowns. But he's shown that he's still the same Mark Andrews. If he can get in space, he can still catch the balls in tight windows into the end zone. And to get that, maybe the final contract in his career with the team that drafted him, I mean, that's the way you want to start your career, but that's the way you want to end your career.
Well, Garrett, 6 total touchdowns for Mark Andrews so far this season. And we now have to say total touchdowns because he did have that rushing touchdown a few weeks ago. But how is Mark built to have a strong finish to this season?
I think he's somebody that trains so diligently during the offseason that it really puts him in position to get stronger as the year goes along. We talk about that with Derrick Henry a lot, and I think it's a similar situation when you talk about Mark Andrews and the approach he takes during the offseason. Nobody works harder. Nobody takes better care of his body. And you mentioned that long touchdown run, the hurricane play that everybody loved against the Cleveland Browns. That was the fastest time, over 20 miles per hour, the fastest time of his entire career. So if there were any questions about him losing a step as he gets up there in age or anything like that, he answered that pretty clearly with that touchdown run. And I agree with what both of you are saying about Mark Andrews and what he has meant to this team. He is somebody who's probably going to be in the Ring of Honor when it's all said and done. He's built an incredible resume here with the Ravens, and you're not going to find anybody that cares more about wanting to put on this jersey, to play well for this team, and to try to get the Ravens to a Super Bowl. He does everything he can to try to make that happen, and the connection he has with Lamar Jackson is special. These guys have been building together over the course of their career, and this extension allows him and Lamar to continue working towards that. Hopefully it happens this season, but I think that you want to have those two guys together for as long as possible, and Mark has the opportunity here to potentially be a Raven for life, and that would be a great thing for him, and congratulations, well-earned contract to Mark.
Yeah, congratulations to Mark and his family. Fans, pregame warm-ups are brought to you by Merritt Athletic Clubs. And Rod, switching to a position you know better than most, this Ravens secondary, since week 6, 8 offensive touchdowns allowed. That's ranked first in the NFL. Only 5 of those passing touchdowns, just under 17 points per game, 11 takeaways. And when you look at it, over 65% of Aaron Rodgers' passing yards have come after the catch, especially that tight end group. Those Steelers tight ends, over 500 yards after catch. That's third in the NFL. How can the Ravens limit that today?
Well, they play with the 3 safety package. So, Kyle Hamilton will come in and be the nickel for the most part. And since they've gotten Gilman, the defense is very similar to last year, right, when Darius Washington got into the starting lineup, and then they kind of move Hamilton back closer to the line of scrimmage where he can blitz, he can tackle, he can cover, and play in that nickel spot. I mean, it's allowed them to kind of do a lot of different things. So Kyle Hamilton is kind of like a chess piece that they can move around, and they just play better football with that. And I think the biggest thing is when you talk about the players themselves, that Nate is getting better and better and better, more comfortable in covering guys. Awuzie has played so well every single time he stepped on the field. And Marlon Humphreys is Marlon Humphreys. Look, he's making plays, stripping the ball, getting interceptions, getting sacks. So he's doing everything he's always done. But bringing in Nate, who's learning the game, and Awuzie, that pickup has been really critical for the defense.
Yeah, I actually got to sit down with Cheeto this week, and you mentioned Kyle Hamilton being the chess piece. Well, Cheeto is an avid chess player, and I talked to him, and he said there are so many similarities between the game of chess and playing defense for the Ravens, and just you're looking for patterns, and you're looking for movement, and guessing what your opponent is going to do next, and reacting if the opponent has a surprising move. Like you said, Cheeto Awuzie, 6 passes defended since week 9. That's tied for second most in the NFL, and his completion percentage is just 40% when he's targeted. What is allowing him to play this well in this Ravens defense?
Man. You know what? I would love to be able to answer that question because I've seen him at his other stops, and he's played well. This is the best he's played in his career, and I don't know if it's because he's older, he's more mature, he understands what he can and cannot do and how he needs to play. I think he understands the game even better. Maybe he understands the route tree better. He's really connected to the receivers going down the field. I mean, all those things, being said, I think it's a combination of all. He is older. He understands the game. He's been around a lot of different defensive coordinators, but he's been around playing against a lot of different offensive systems. And I think after end it all, you say, I mean, it's not rocket scientist. Football is, we're not taking anybody to the moon with a football. But I think it's a simple game, not easy to play at a high level. But he is playing his best football this last part of his career, and it's been great to see him doing it with the Ravens because the Ravens needed one of those other. They needed another corner to come in to take the place of Wiggins and Humphrey and go out there and play at their top of the level, and he's done that.
Well, Nate Wiggins, what a season he's having, and huge news for the Ravens that he is back. He's okay. He missed the second half of that Bengals game. He'll have his hands full today with guys like DK Metcalf and Adam Thielen. What does Nate need to do today against, Aaron Rodgers? He can still toss it up there.
Yeah, Nate just needs to go out there and just play. I mean, he's gotten better and better and better every single game throughout his first couple years in the career. And I think as long as he can remember, he is faster than the receivers for the most part. So he can get a good feel, go out there and play. But when he put his foot in the ground, go get those interceptions like he's been getting, That's the Nate Wiggins that the Ravens need. They need him to be that playmaker, that shutdown corner. They can lock him up to one side if they wanted to and let him go out there and play. And I think that's the indication of a really good defense, but an individual player that's taken upon himself to say, give me the best receiver. Don't worry about me. I got him.
Well, there is a player on this Ravens defense who is pretty familiar with Aaron Rodgers. Roquan Smith, linebacker. He, saw Aaron a time or two in their NFC North days. How critical will Roquan be today when it comes to defending Pittsburgh's rushing attack?
Well, the rushing attack, they're going to be in 13 personnel, right? So they're going to be 3 tight ends, 1 receiver, 1 back. They're going to come at you and run the football, but they're going to play pass off of that. So it's going to be critical that the linebacker, but Rowe being that leader, coming downhill, you can't give him both. You can't let him have a play pass and the run game. So you got to come down, tackle the guy in space, don't give him a running game, and I know it's crazy to say this, but make Aaron Rodgers throw the football, but keep him out of the pocket. He's a pocket passer. And now when he gets out of the pocket, he can't throw the football. But I think if Rowe can be that guy consistently with Buchanan, who Teddy has been a tackling machine this year. And I think those 2 guys are getting better and better and better, and especially Teddy being with them, of learning how to play in this league.
Well, we mentioned it's reunion weekend, and Garrett is now joined by Marvin Lewis. He was defensive coordinator of that Super Bowl championship team from 2000. Garrett, take it away.
Yeah, Shelby, thank you so much. I'm here with Marvin Lewis. Marvin, how's it feel to be back here and have the chance to connect with your old coaches and that 2000 Super Bowl team?
It's been a great weekend and very well done, but just so good to see everybody again, spend some time, and a lot of the players had their families here with them, and to see them with their kids all grown up is really awesome.
Marvin, we just spent some time talking about that defense that year and how it's the best defense in NFL history. You were the coordinator for that group. No doubt, right? In your mind, I know I'm asking a biased source here. No doubt that's the best defense I've ever seen. What was it that made that group so special?
They were so smart. They knew the opponent better than the opponent knew themselves, and they could take the game plan and apply it and just execute it. I could have dropped dead on the sideline, and Rod could have called the defense array.
Well, Marvin, this is a AFC North game here. You know about what it takes to win AFC North games. A lot of time in this division over the course of your career. What does it take to win this type of a rivalry matchup here in December football?
Well, the team that makes the least mistakes is the most physical. It's going to win the football game. And you got to take care of the football. You can't turn the ball over in a game like this.
Awesome. Well, Marvin, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the weekend with your teammates and everyone being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Garrett. Rod, a little shout out there from your former coach, Marvin Lewis. What was he like as a coach?
I love Marvin. Listen, remember, Marv got a start in Pittsburgh. So he was that green coach coming out of college, and then he had to deal with Greg Lloyd and Kevin Green and all those guys in Pittsburgh who gave him a lot of issues and a lot of problems. But I think he got better and better and better. And the year that we won the Super Bowl, and I say this, and I've been around a lot of really good defensive coordinators, that was probably the best game planning consistently throughout the year that we had from Marvin. And he allowed us to be us. He allowed us to put our own little takes on things, to do things inside of the game that maybe he didn't like a little bit, but he allowed us to go do it. And it allowed us to play at the best that we could.
Well, it's Ravens, it's Steelers. First place in the AFC North is on the line. And when we come back, we'll continue to talk about this rivalry matchup and maybe even reminisce a little more about that 2000 Super Bowl team. We'll be right back.
You've got drive. You're mastering the skills to own your field. Towson University turns your ambition into action with top-ranked degrees and opportunities. Every class, every experience builds the momentum to make your next big play. The ball is yours at TU. Proud partner of the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay, Nate, it's just one smile, okay? One smile, and then we can go home, okay? No, that's too much teeth.
Nate, come on.
You gotta look at the camera, honey.
Nate, listen to your mother.
Buddy, look up, okay? No, that's too far up. This isn't working. DeVito, you're in.
Tommy DeVito, backup Nate.
If only there were backups in real life.
Hey, guys, follow me on this one.
But at least there's Progressive to protect your home and auto.
See? Now that's a smile. Okay, now everybody look at DeVito on this one.
Whether it's your first time betting or you've been gambling for years, have a plan and know the game. Be aware of the rules and odds before you gamble. Set a budget and never gamble with money you can't afford to lose. Take a break and consider teaming up with trusted friends to help you stick to your budget. Remember, if you or a loved one has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org for free confidential services.
Hey Ravens fans, this is your chance to get closer than ever with the GEHA Tunnel Takeover Sweepstakes. Win tickets to the December 21st game when your Ravens face the Patriots. You'll score game day parking, backyard bash passes, and the ultimate pregame tunnel experience. Don't miss it. Enter now at BaltimoreRavens.com/GEHA. Well, it's week 14, and it's a big one when it comes to December football. It's the Ravens and the Steelers rivalry weekend. You know these two teams hate each other, but we're also celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Ravens' first Super Bowl championship, and now Garrett Downing is joined by the head coach of that Super Bowl winning team, Ravens Ring of Honor member, Brian Billick.
Yeah, Shelby, I'm here with Brian Billick, who was the head coach of that team. Brian, what has this weekend been like of having everybody back here together in Baltimore?
Been fabulous. I mean, it's sobering to think 25 years. You know, but to have all the guys, and it's hard. I'm looking at the players; they got old. You know, I'm not sure. It was hard. Some of them I had to but it was great. I mean, to get back together and bring back the memories of that team, which was such a special team. I mean, when you think back in terms of the lack of expectation coming into the season, the difficulty we had in that month of October, and yet coming out of it, it was a team. I always said that was a team of such characters with great character, and it's great to be back with the guys.
Brian, one of the things I remember about that Super Bowl run, something that stands out, was the speech that you gave to the team after that win over the Tennessee Titans in the locker room, holding up the newspaper and all that stuff. How did that speech and that moment kind of galvanize this team?
Well, again, let's remember this was a team that had minimal. I think we were picked to finish last in the division that year, and the fact that particularly that Tennessee win on the road in a place they had never lost, and obviously a rival. That really was kind of that, guys, we can do this. You know, you fought through all the difficulties of the offseason, and then in October it was tough, but then, and I wanted to make sure they and again, let's remember, Tennessee was supposed to be the team. They were going to go to the Super Bowl. I just wanted them to grasp, guys, this is real, okay? This isn't just, yeah, rah-rah. This is real. This is something we can do.
Ryan, something I often remind Ravens fans of is your team in 2000, the 2012 team, they went through some adversity during the season, but they pulled it together, they stayed together, and then they put it all together once they got to the postseason. This team, of course, has fought through some adversity. How do you go about keeping the team together so that you can keep building, and then once you get to the playoffs, who knows what can happen?
Well, that comes back to the character of your team and the leadership you had. We had great leadership, because you're right, that can be a dicey time when you hit that rough patch, and every team does. But I'm convinced, I'm not sure we'd have gone on to win a Super Bowl had we not had to go through that adversity together and stick together, because it challenges you, and that team did stick together. So once they did and we came out of it, then the rest of the season it was like, hey, bring it on. We've been there. We know we're not going to crack. We know we're not going to blink, because we've already been through it, and it gave them a strength that just kept building as we got all the way to the Super Bowl.
That's awesome. Well, hopefully this team has some of those similar qualities.
Absolutely.
Enjoy the weekend here with the rest of the guys. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Garrett and Rod. Brian just talked about what that team had to do to stick together. When you think back on those times, what was the glue that kept this team together through hard times?
Well, I think just the closeness we had. We were all off the field. I mean, yeah, we played with each other, we practiced, we worked out together, but spending time outside of football, when you leave the locker room, when your kids are with their other kids and the wives are with their other wives, you're playing for your brother. So when you're playing for your brother and you're playing for one of your friends, you're going to do everything right. So you don't want to put him in a bad spot. You don't want to put him in a bad spot. You want to go out there and play your best football. And I think that was the main reason we were so close outside of football, but that made us so good when we got onto the field.
Well, a fun weekend here with that team. I know you enjoyed a few events so far this weekend, and again at halftime, there's going to be a special ceremony, and this was earlier today. Before the game, there was a little parade with the trophy and some members. I think Rod was busy up here, so he wasn't able to be there with J.O. What a fun weekend. What's your favorite memory from this weekend, reminiscing with these guys?
I mean, just seeing the guys again. I mean, it's, once you retire, you split up, and life is life, right? You got your kids, you got your family, you have those issues. But then coming back and seeing the guys that I haven't seen in 10 years. I mean, I've talked to guys, we've texted each other and all that stuff and stayed in contact. But seeing their faces, seeing their family, seeing their kids when they were little, seeing them all grown up, I mean, that's very special.
Special. It's a family.
It is.
Well, the Ravens are coming off a loss. I know they are ready to forget about, but what will they need to do to beat a bitter rival here in December football at M&T Bank Stadium and get back in the win column? Our keys to the game are next, so don't go anywhere.
How can we reduce emissions?
Clean energy, great, but our bottom line matters.
Where do we even start?
Working toward your sustainability goals gives you a lot to think about. At Constellation, we make it simple. We're the nation's leading producer of clean, reliable energy, and we offer the tools, expertise, and customized solutions you need to reduce your emissions and maintain your bottom line. Wherever you are in your sustainability journey, you can count on Constellation to take you further. Power on, America.
Did they ask you to do the commercial too?
Yeah, but they just gave me one line.
Bet like a Caesar. Like, we're going to sit here and we're going to tell them how Caesars Sportsbook is just so easy to use that you can watch and bet thousands of sports events, even some NFL games.
They'll probably show us betting on our favorite players and teams at all the Vegas hotspots too.
Like, we have time for that montage.
I told him I couldn't do it.
They couldn't afford me.
Getting to the bank to see the Ravens play just got a whole lot easier, thanks to the Geico Game Day Shuttle. Skip the lots and skip the walk. Hop aboard a shuttle and get to the gate in just a matter of minutes. Rides are fast, free, and fun, so you and your crew get to the game safely, quickly, and stress-free. Shuttles pick up at Federal Hill and drop you off right at the stadium. It's the easiest way to get to the game, so you can celebrate every drive, every touchdown. Getting to the game doesn't have to be tough. Just take the Geico Game Day Shuttle.
The best offense is a great defense. Get 100% verified tickets only from Ticketmaster. Seats available all season long, even last minute. Take it to the house every time. Ticketmaster, official marketplace of the NFL.
With the 208 Ravens receptions this season, Tito's Handmade Vodka has donated $20,800 to the Warrior Canine Connection to help in their mission of recovering warriors training service dogs for fellow veterans. Well, it's the biggest game of the season for the Ravens so far. Winner will take sole possession of first place in the AFC North, and it's a pretty nice day for December football, a slight chill in the air. So with that, we'll send it down to Garrett. And Garrett, the Steelers defense gets up for this one, especially with a few former Ravens on their side, and you always have TJ Watt hunting on the edge. So what does the Ravens offense and Lamar Jackson need to do for him to move to 12-1 as a starter at home in December today?
Yeah, Chevy, let's start with our Maryland Realtors weather report. It is chilly here. It's 43 degrees, but the sun is out. As far as December football goes, these are pretty mild conditions here today, so I don't expect the weather to have too much of an impact on today's game. Both teams should be able to operate offensively the way that they want to, and for that Ravens offense, here are my three keys to the game. First of all, I think the Ravens need to avoid third and long situations. They need to get yardage on first and second down. They They do not want to be living in 3rd and 8, which allows those great pass rushers on Pittsburgh's defense to tee off. Secondly, protect the football. Turnovers have really decided these Ravens-Steelers games over the season. So the Ravens cannot turn the ball over and give the Steelers extra possessions. That is what cost the Ravens a week ago on Thanksgiving against the Bengals, where they had 5 turnovers on that night. And then lastly, I think the Steelers are really going to sell out to stop the run. You go back to the success that the Ravens had in that playoff game against the Steelers. They ran all over that defense. Derrick Henry had a huge game. You know the Steelers are coming into this game committed to stopping the run. That has been a focus for them all offseason. Mike Tomlin talked about it soon after that game, that when he was on the bus after that playoff loss, he was thinking about how they needed to restructure their team and their defense to prevent that type of a situation. So they're going to sell out to stop the run, I believe, in this game, and the Ravens have to make them pay for taking that approach.
But like you said, Garrett, ball security, the Steelers lead the NFL with 16 forced fumbles. So Ravens taking care of the ball today. And Rod, it's future Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers on the other side of the ball, leading the Pittsburgh Steelers at quarterback today. What do you need to see out of the Ravens defense?
Yeah, first of all, you got to win a turnover battle. We all know that. Everybody in the stadium knows that. Secondly, you can't give him any big plays in the passing game. You got to limit that. And then lastly, you got to get the pressure on Aaron Rodgers consistently, make him feel uncomfortable, which is hard to do, but make him feel uncomfortable, make him throw you a couple balls.
Well, Rod, thank you so much for filling in for Tori today. We always love hearing your perspective, especially when it's a big rivalry game like this.
I know.
And fans, only 5 games left in the regular season, back-to-back AFC North games. Then the Ravens host the Red Hot in the AFC New England Patriots for the regular season home finale. Then it's a late December trip to Lambeau and the regular season finale in Pittsburgh, and a partridge in a pear tree, right? A lot going on in these last 5 weeks. Buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride. So we will see you in 2 weeks when the Ravens host the Patriots for that December 21st home game. Again, Rod, thanks so much for joining us. Fans, enjoy the game. It's Ravens and the Steelers. It doesn't get better than this.